They're haunting thoughts. What if I'd chased that dream, turned left instead of right, or said yes to that person? Lord Huron's Cosmic Selector album turns these questions into music. In the album's story, the Cosmic Selector is a mysterious jukebox, a machine said to send you into alternate timelines by playing a song on it. Behind each possible song lies a different story. Heartbreak, longing and regret are all relatable topics to be explored. The Cosmic Selector isn't just a concept. It's an actual custom-made jukebox based on a 1963 model. The band used it in the music videos for the album and carried it on tour, which made the metaphor tangible. On its top row, you'll find the 12 songs from the 2025 album, but the rest of the machine is filled with other songs from Lord Huron's discography. Some of these songs are stories you might already be familiar with.
Take me back to the night we met.
The interesting question, however, is, what story did Lord Huron try to tell with the 12 songs on the Cosmic Selector album? And how could it help us live in a life filled with uncertainty? Lord Huron's debut album was released in 2012, shaped by the songwriting of frontman Ben Schneider. Ever since, his music has been defined by wanderlust and a connection to nature.
Nature is one of those big mysteries that's, personified in this immense beauty. I don't know, that's always been a place where I've gone to reflect and to just feel like I'm part of the universe, I kind of like feeling small. There's something comforting to me about feeling like you're just a grain of sand in this vast machine.
His songs embody this philosophy. When you're just a grain of sand in the universe, why not make the most out of life? In Ends of the Earth, the lyrics explore the idea of life being too short not to explore the unknown world.
What good is living the life you've been given if all you do is stand in place?
For Schneider, creating music is his way of trying to make sense of the universe.
Everything that I find really beautiful seems to have like a real mysterious element to it too. Love, the cosmos, and nature. So it's almost just an attempt to express the awe that I feel in the face of those things.
But life, for all its mystery and wonder, is also uncertain. The Cosmic Selector Volume 1 explores how to deal with not knowing. But what made Schneider turn to a jukebox for this exploration?
I had this idea about a jukebox that represented the vagaries of fate, the different ways a life can go, and how each song on this jukebox is sort of a different fate, not knowing what's coming your way, and there not being any rhyme or reason to the randomness of the universe.
Each song on the jukebox tells a different story, but combined, they form a journey. The album was created with a listening experience in mind.
We like to make albums that are meant to be listened to together as a whole, front to back. You just might find that new meanings reveal themselves when you listen to it that way.
So, if we decide to go on this journey, how can it help us deal with the randomness of the universe? Throughout the album, each song is written from the perspective of a different character, reflecting on the decisions they made. As the album progresses, these reflections get more philosophical. But let's start from the beginning. The opening track of the album introduces us to a character consumed by regret. This isn't regret over one decision. It's the character's realization that he spent his life looking backwards while life was happening right in front of him.
I struggle living in the moment. When you really think about how much time your mind is either dwelling on things that happened or worrying about things that are going to happen, I don't know, it's shocking.
The consequences of dwelling are further explored in the second song of the album. Here, the character feels like he no longer has control of his life. In the video clip, we see a character rolling down a hill, unable to stop.
Sometimes I feel like I'm just stumbling my way through life and things are just happening around me and on this enormous scale. I just like this image of someone who kind of seemingly haphazardly stumbles their way through life while these monumental things are happening all around them.
On top of regret, we've now met a character who feels like life is just happening to him. About halfway through the album, however, we reach a turning point. We're greeted with songs where the characters are fed up with being controlled by the past. The shift starts with a song called Who Laughs Last, performed through a collaboration with none other than Twilight actress Kristen Stewart. In the song, both Stewart and Schneider narrate a character who has decided to leave a toxic world behind. The song starts with a spoken word narration by Stewart.
I kept my eyes on the long white lines, and I drove like hell.
We meet characters who've had enough. They get in their car and drive, away from their old life, away from whoever they used to be. Ben Schneider's parts complement Stewart's narration. The theme of escape continues in the song Watch Me Go, where a character not only decides to leave a negative place behind, but also a toxic person.
Far away from here, I don't care where, 'cause I see what I'm becoming.
The character sees himself become something he doesn't like anymore, and finally decides to leave it behind. Through the songs, we're reminded that every day we have the ability to choose a different life. But how do we deal with the aspects of life we cannot run away from? While some of the characters in the album's songs decided to turn their life around, some aspects of life can't be changed. Our mortality is one of them. The final songs of the album face this directly, addressing death not with fear, but with curiosity. In the song Used to Know, the character imagines speaking from beyond the grave, asking to be remembered as someone who once mattered.
Come back from the graveyard, tell me I remind you of someone you used to.
That references the graveyard. Not because I think I'm particularly morbid or anything, but it's just one of those big, unknowable mysteries that's fascinating to think about in all its different forms.
The final track of the album, Life is Strange, confronts death most directly.
Well, do what you must, in the end we all turn to dust.
The song embraces life's absurdity, acknowledging the brevity of it all. But that brings up a deeper question. If our time is so limited, we naturally want it to count. We want to make the right choices. But how can we ever know if we're choosing correctly? How do we know this life we're living is the one we're meant to live? The Cosmic Selector suggests you cannot know. It just asks you to press play and see where it takes you. Moving forward is better than being paralyzed by fear. Some characters in the album stayed frozen by regret, endlessly wondering, what if? But the ones who broke free didn't have the answers either. They just stopped needing them. They accepted the randomness, took off, and let the universe take them where it would.